All right, you're listening to Apostates on the Fringe, a leftist atheist podcast sponsored by the Atheist Society of Knoxville. We are your hosts. As always, I'm Dustin.
I'm Alistair, and I'm playing with boobies.
And I'm Sam.
You're playing with boobies?
I'm playing with boobies.
What do you mean you're playing with boobies?
I got a can opener with these boobies that I get to play with.
It's so funny because we got the cat, and the cat we thought would play with them with like their paws. Like, the whole purpose of friends sent that to us to put on our fridge, and the cat would play with them. This bitch just leaned over and just started chewing on the boobies, and it was pretty funny. Hey, maybe we'll actually get to fucking hear you this week. Maybe I won't fuck up the record during edit and kill your entire mic.
They're trying to silence me, y'all.
I am trying to silence you. So again, not a whole lot going on this week. I know that I want to bitch about Jeff Bezos and a few other billionaires, Elon Musk and Michael Bloomberg. These motherfuckers just came from ProRepublica.
We should eat them.
We should eat them because in 2007, he was a multi-billionaire already, and now the world's richest man. He didn't pay a penny in federal income taxes. Did it again in 2011. In 2018, Tesla founder Elon Musk, the second richest person, also paid no federal income taxes. I don't know who Carl Icahn is, did it twice. George Soros, our favorite billionaire, leftist, Antifa funding guy, paid no federal income tax 3 years.
Wait, that man owes me so much fucking money, and he's not even paying his fucking taxes?
He owes me at least an AR-15, I think, from what the far right was saying I should be getting from him. I haven't gotten mine yet.
I think I would have like 20 of them at least by now.
I haven't attended as many protests as you, but I still haven't got my Soros check in the mail, and I'm kind of pissy about it.
Well, the IRS chief said that he doesn't care if the rich don't pay. So that's the first part of the problem. I'm sure he doesn't care if they pay or not because they are paying him something. I'm sure he has a nice little pocket of money to make sure that he doesn't, actually make anything happen against the super rich.
Eat them.
I mean, this isn't surprising to me at all. I mean, that's how the rich stay rich. They game the fucking system, and then they get. I mean, we've talked about it before. They get the middle class fighting against each other, or blaming the lower class instead of blaming the
immigrants, blame poor people, blame black people, blame anybody, but the people in power,
right?
The people with the money.
And so, for years, these billionaires who just. I mean, let's just face it, in 2020, several billionaires, their fucking net worth and wealth fucking increased exponentially on the backs of people who were suffering during the pandemic, who turned to their services. And what?
The problem,
nothing for us. They're not going to pay. They don't pay their fair share.
The problem is that they literally have enough money to solve all of the world's problems.
They really do.
Yep.
Like, we could solve all of the world's problems right now if they use their money appropriately.
So how did they get away with this? Like, what are they doing? Is it offshore accounts?
Well, it's a type of... Well, yeah, they offshore accounts, bribery to make sure, like I said, the IRS chief said that he won't persecute them, and I'm sure that... I'm going to just say that I'm sure there's a bribe somewhere involved there.
Well, I think it's something I read before, and I may get this wrong, but it's fine, is that a lot of times they, in their companies... have, like you said, offshore accounts, but that they sell their intellectual property to and use that as a tax write-off.
A literal empty warehouse in Ecuador or something. Yeah.
And that just holds their intellectual property rights to those things and just use it as a deduction. Some of just the various loopholes that haven't been closed. Let's not forget the Trump tax plan in 2017 that lowered the corporate tax rate, which kind of paved the way for this to happen even more. And then I'm just kind of hoping that when Jeff Bezos launches himself into space, he gets fucking marooned forever up there in his little blue. Is it Blue Origin? Is that his?
Is his name?
Is it? No, is that? I think it's.
I think the billionaires are just going to come together and fuck this planet up, and then leave. I think that's their plan. That's the goal. Like, fuck this planet.
That's why Elon's trying to get to Mars.
Yeah. I think they all, that's their plan. They don't really give a shit. Like, whatever catastrophe happens, it still will not affect them. They have enough to sit it out in luxury no matter what happens. The world is their oyster.
Oh, it really is.
They can go anywhere they want. They can do anything they want. They can build anything they want. They are just going to have to... do they even fight it out amongst themselves?
I mean, probably not. I mean, I would imagine why they would.
I mean,
they have such a mass wealth.
They have more power than... countries. They own the countries. They own a number of countries.
Yeah, I mean, collectively, their net worth is more than the gross domestic product of several countries.
Yeah.
So between 2014 and 2018, their collective worth of 25 of the richest people, it grew $401 billion. They paid a total of $13.6 billion in those 5 years in taxes, and it comes out to a tax rate of only 3.4%.
Must be fucking nice.
The medium rate that most people pay is like 14%.
14%-ish.
I think
For median household incomes, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should do a parody episode, maybe for April Fools. We'll call it Centrists on the Fence, and we'll try to figure out how we can fix this problems by incremental change through voting. I mean, what's the plan to fix this problem? Is there a way to fix this problem from
not from an individual standpoint? It's all these corporate tax loopholes. There's nothing we
I have
as
a
individuals have
proposal.
power.
I have a proposal.
Does it involve guillotines?
No. That's
We
not.
eat them.
No, we are centrists on the fence, not apostates on the fringe. How do centrists on the fence want to fix this problem?
Well, you write your congressman and you urge them to enact
yeah.
laws to protect the.
Because
They can't see my jerking off motion.
No, but really the only way to do it is
Eat them.
Aside from eating them, because they probably taste fucking gross anyways, and
you have to physically eat them, because if you don't, that's what puts the fear into their hearts. That's what they're lacking.
what was that
fear.
meme? You just
You
one,
just eat
eat
one.
one. That's how it takes.
That's why when I
They'll
say
fall in line.
when I say eat the rich, I mean physically. You have to physically cannibalize them. It's a symbolic gesture. Okay, symbolism matters. Maybe
I
that's
mean,
my art
it'll
boy
get
heart.
to the point where there's nothing else to
Which
eat.
billionaire do you think tastes the best? All right, we go.
Oh, Jesus fuck.
Yeah,
no.
let's play this game. Let's do this. We have low content. Which billionaire do you think would taste the best? And let's go rotisserie style. So let's go.
I'm gonna go with Elon Musk.
I will second you on that because
Yeah.
he's slow smoked with all that marijuana.
and he's dating Grimes, who is just gone off the rails. Can we talk about her her rant that she did earlier the week too?
I didn't hear that.
Ooh, I didn't hear about that. So let's hear it.
She had a rant about. I'm sure she got this from her husband. I don't know where else she would get this shit from, but she said that AI,
the child's name.
AI would lead to communism.
I thought you were talking about the
that's the reason that Elon Musk fears AI. He's given multiple lectures of how much he fears AI, and then Grimes comes out and says AI will lead to communism.
Wait, doesn't he produce a certain type of AI?
I mean, that's kind of what drives Tesla Motors.
They're talking about like
true AI,
true AI, AI that becomes self-aware
okay.
would lead us to communism. And I'm like, I've always thought that is, I don't know. I'm an old school gamer. You're a gamer. Have you played the original Deus Ex? No.
The original what?
The original
no,
Deus Ex?
No, I
Okay.
didn't know.
One of the endings is you connect an AI and let the AI rule the world, basically. And because you would take the human equation of greed and everything out of it.
So let me. I guess I would posit her this question: if is AI becoming self-aware and having probably the computing power that it had, would it then deduce? Is she saying that AI would deduce that communism is the most effective?
Yeah.
Is that? I mean, that's what I'm reading. Like, if AI is the highest form of electronic computing and it determines that communism is the best model for a society.
Well, she wasn't saying it was a good thing. Like
that's what I'm saying. But
yes, but the computer doesn't have the human element of emotions, so it can look at things
logical.
rationally, and it comes to decide that communism is the best system.
In her head, this is a dystopian young adult novel where everyone lives in gray buildings and work the fields for the communist AI.
Look, I drive around neighborhoods all the time, and everybody lives in gray buildings.
Yeah, they're made out of shitty materials.
But she's missing the point. If AI, being logically driven, a swarm of neural networks, determines that the most logical solution for any society to be the most positively functioning would be communism, then why is she fearing it?
Well, my response to this,
Because they won't have
because she's
everything.
not in that class anymore.
They, she
Yeah,
was
they
She
can't.
was, yes, you're right.
She is Marie Antoinette of our day.
The only fear that can come is they will no longer have more than anybody else. They will no longer have stature. They will know, like, they won't be important.
What kind of world will 123XYZ or whatever the fuck their kid's name is going to inherit?
I know. When you said AI, when you started talking about AI, I thought you were about trying to spell
Their
your fucking
child.
kid's name because, like, that is the most fucked up thing. And that poor thing. Of course, I mean, once you're the fucking kid of Elon Musk, you know,
You don't think they get bullied?
You're not going to get
You
bullied.
can't get
But
bullied.
still, I mean, that's like, how edgy are you? And I'm doing air quotes to fucking name your kid that. How high? Probably high. He had to be super high when he did that.
I don't know. I mean, he's like the supreme white person. And have you seen a lot of the names that, like, white women are picking out?
No.
I saw one recently that was Rinley, Rynleigh. Rinley.
I didn't know that, but I did know that Karen is on the decline. Like, there haven't been a whole lot of Karens.
You don't say. I thought that was a racial slur, you know. I think white people, you know, need to reclaim that back, and maybe one day in the far future, we will be referring to it as the K word.
The K word?
Yeah, we won't be able to say it.
I know a few Karens, and I feel really bad for them because they're younger and completely not like Karens. It's like, what
Time
an
to go buy your
unfortunate
middle name.
Yeah.
And so,
You
what
can change your name, yo.
going back to these fucking billionaires, what a lot of people can't really grasp is how much a billion really is. Just one billion. And I have a few weird stats I'm going to throw your way. Okay, so 1 million seconds ago, how long ago do you think that would be? Sam?
I can't do math. Don't ask me shit.
All right, so 1 million seconds ago was approximately 11 days. Okay? A billion seconds ago was sometime in the mid 1980s. And that's just one. Now, say you have a dollar bill, and you lay them up against each other flat, horizontally. Okay? So you have a billion of them. A billion $1 bills. How far, football field, 2 football fields, how far do you think you have to go to get to that end of 1 billion $1 bills?
As far away as I hope that Jeff Bezos...
It'd be
we can
more
find
than the circumference of the Earth, I would think.
No, it wouldn't be that long. It's actually it's stupid long. It's 64 miles. You would have to drive 64 miles to pass 1 billion $1 bills pressed against each other in straps.
Okay,
And
so
that's
I
just-
envision it a little bit bigger than apparently.
No, so I mean it's still an insane amount. 64 miles. I mean these are like 0.0013
Oh,
inches.
stacked, not lined up.
No,
one
not
way.
lined
That's-
up. Yeah, sorry,
I
no,
wasn't
no.
paying attention.
Right, so like then like sheet to sheet essentially.
Yeah.
1 billion of those, 64 fucking miles.
Well, now you're making every movie where someone opens a briefcase really unimpressive.
Well,
Okay,
I'm working-
but stretching them out long ways?
that would probably twice. Holy shit, that would be to your point. If the way you envisioned it, like horizontally or lengthwise, yeah, probably. There was someone who did a Minecraft representation of wealth in this country, or they showed like here's $100, here's $100 million, and then this huge towering stack that was Elon Musk. And then that was fucking dwarfed. Like, I wish you guys could see this fucking graphic, which shows the sheer fucking wealth that these people hold that they give nothing to fucking society. Fucking nothing.
It's
Like,
disgusting.
yeah, I mean,
It's just like every bit of it makes me sick to my stomach to think about.
how do you
like-
hoard this much wealth knowing the problems that are in this world and just you're doing nothing but let's shoot a Tesla Roadster into space?
So one of the big problems that I have is I think that to gain that much power, you have to be a sociopath. It's impossible to be a billionaire without being a sociopath. Because if you weren't a sociopath, that would stop you. You have to walk on so many people's backs, fuck so many people over, that it's not possible to be a moral person and gain that much wealth. Everybody that's ever ruled over people to an extreme amount, whether it be through wealth or corporate power, ruling nations, to get that kind of power, you have to step on people, you have to fuck people over.
That's true.
And that takes being a sociopath.
Okay,
We will always be ruled by sociopaths.
I knew
it's human nature.
consistently that every month I would have, say, 1,000 more than all my bills. And I knew this every single month I have this much more, even if something goes wrong. I would probably give away a decent portion of that every month. You know, like, just because I don't see the point in hoarding it. You know, put some of it back, but you could save some money and then
even talking about the most philanthropist billionaire, Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Like, he still doesn't even give away a small portion of his wealth with what he does.
No, I know he and Buffett, and I think even the Zuck signed this pledge, and I'm going to air quote that here because you guys can't see it, to give away 99% ultimately of their wealth, whether they actually uphold that or not.
Yeah, right.
What?
Yeah, they sure did. I think they were trying to get Zuck to do it. I know that Gates and Warren Buffett did.
Is Zuck a billionaire?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Zuck's a billionaire.
He's the one who paid little in taxes, too, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for a Social Network 2. We need a second movie because it's been a decade and a lot has happened.
I haven't seen. I actually never saw that one.
So basically, the theory, the point of the first movie is that he couldn't get laid and get rejected by a girl, so he created a website to rate women in his college class, and now he's just like one of the world's biggest fascists. That's how it happened.
Didn't he have a roommate that he was working on that with too, though?
Yeah, exactly. You have to be a sociopath to get that much power. He fucked everybody else over.
Mm-hmm. And he's a fucking robot too.
He is. He's so robotic.
He's so weird. What a weird fucking dude. Like, when he was at that hearing, that congressional hearing, that was fucking...
Yeah, I saw his
movement
his dark
and everything.
eyes.
It's
Doll's eyes.
His movement is like a lizard. It's like
don't get on the lizard theory.
Lizard
people theory.
Definitely don't think the lizard people, but his mannerisms are lizard-like.
He's a sociopath. He has
to
pretend
he
to have
he doesn't know how to
emotions.
people either, or to present human even. Like,
He doesn't have to present human.
Apparently
anymore.
not.
So this happened in Blunttville, Tennessee. It's a Sullivan County. Teacher there named Matthew Hahn. Last year he taught a history class, and he gave his students a poem called "The First White President." And a parent claimed that it painted the former president in a negative light. And then later on, he presented a video with a spoken word about white privilege. The title of it was "White Privilege" by Kyla Jeannie Lacey. The parents got upset about that. He ended up getting a written reprimand for teaching about anti-racism in his classroom. This is before critical race theory was banned here in Tennessee. But they had a vote early this week in Sullivan County, I guess the school board, on whether they were going to uphold the written reprimand. And they voted 6-0 to. And then on Tuesday, they voted, I think it was 6-1, to fire him.
And when was the initial complaint filed against him? Was this early
last year?
This was last year?
Mm-hmm.
And because he had the audacity to teach the history of white racism in this country?
About presenting anti-racist ideas.
Well, you can't have that in Tennessee.
No.
I mean, they try to...
They felt the language, I guess, white privilege, was too much for high schoolers.
I mean, they're just trying to create more Republicans. That's all the education system, the whole point, like, you always...
That's because they're scared of losing power, because...
educated people do not vote Republican unless they are making a good bit of money and think...
That's true.
If they think they're in the upper class, which, that's another... They are still stupid people. Like, even if you make $1 million, you're not rich. You feel like you're rich, but you're not rich. You're still not rich enough to vote Republican. That's the point.
The school district claimed that, like, had Han discussed white privilege in, like, a contemporary issues class, it would have been acceptable.
What kind of class was it? Was it then?
It was a history class, I believe.
Okay.
But they said they did not believe some of the terms used in the video were appropriate for high schoolers. And I don't even know what the fuck that means. I really don't.
I mean, they didn't quote anything that they found egregious in any of the articles I found.
No, and I went through many articles trying to find out what exactly they objected to there. And nothing is saying it.
Well, it's kind of in line with what a lot of Republican lawmakers and governors are doing across the country right now, is that they're banning critical race theory from all of their schools. Mm-hmm. Florida just signed. Iowa, again. There's several other states who are currently have bills introduced. We know Tennessee already passed theirs. They think, and fucking Fox News, of course, is championing all this because, they think it's discriminatory indoctrination to teach that America has a racist past and is inherently racist with its justice system, which it fucking is. We talked about this before, and this isn't the first time we talked about critical race theory a few episodes ago, but it's still an ongoing issue with all these other states falling in line.
Hey, can I plug an event a friend of mine is hosting?
Go for it.
In response to this. So, a friend of mine is with the Foster Woods Folk School, and they are doing on Saturday. Well, this is going to air after Saturday, but if you go to the Facebook page for Foster Woods Folk School, it should still have the video and everything there. They're doing a teach-in. It's going to be about 8 hours long, and it's going to be all the like illegal lessons now for different areas of the country. So I'm not going to be able to watch it live.
Isn't that fucking
really
disgusting
excited.
that we live in what we call a free country? What they champion their freedoms, and yet they're banning teaching things.
History. They're teaching. It's real fucking history.
This is
it's
like
things
I
that
said,
happened.
it's all part of their plan. They sat down in a room together. They say, how do we ensure a Republican majority? How do we ensure, other than voting fraud, making sure that, Democrats can't vote, how do we make sure we make other Republicans?
Notice that
and the way to do that is to keep people uneducated. That has always been the Republican platform. Mm-hmm. If you see the Republican states, the South, always the bottom of education.
You know what, Sam? You brought up a very
by
good point.
design. That is by design. Mm-hmm. The system's not broken. It's made as they want it to be. When you talk to your average fucking redneck, this is a part of indoctrination. Make sure that they grow up without actually seeing it. They don't actually get an education. They aren't challenged with these things, so that when they grow up to be voting age, and then somebody says, black people have it hard, then you hear the same thing you hear the Republicans tell you. Well, I had it hard. I didn't have it easy. School told me that. Like, that, it's all a part of an indoctrination plan. Like, they know what they're doing. Like, you say they're not teaching history. Yes, that's the point. The point is to create more Republicans.
My question is, how are they going to keep competing with the internet? Because we're learning the shit.
Because there's the dark side of the internet that they find, just as they found Q. The internet is very divided. These people aren't looking up, they're not looking up the actual facts. They go down their path just as it's fed to them.
But that just reinforces the idea that this divide is just going to continue growing, because some people are going to go to the internet and get factual history, and some people are going to go to the internet and find fucking QAnon, and the Jews are behind everything, and they're what's wrong with the world.
Well, unfortunately, because a lot of people, it's unfortunate because...
And a lot of that is a PSYOPs program that Zuckerberg does. Don't act like he's not doing that on purpose.
Right, I was going to mention that a lot
Don't act like that's not on fucking purpose. It's not by accident, it's by design. It's a PSYOPs program.
A lot of this is, for a lot of people, unfortunately, like I mentioned, get their shit from social media, and that shit is driven by algorithms that only reinforce the beliefs that they already went into there to begin with, because they teach their algorithms really quickly to what they start seeing and what their initial interests are. So they're only going to reinforce what they're initially taught. So if they go in with these preconceived notions that there is no racism and they have these Republican ideas,
that
it's only
still
going to
works both ways. So it furthers the divide. People on the left are going to continue to see more and more, and as people like us continue to move further and further left, like we're putting that stuff out to our friends and dragging them further left with us.
And Sam, that's very true. And the only way to fix that is just kill all fucking social media, honestly. And I know that's not going to happen because they're too fucking powerful.
We can't even get off Facebook. It's the only way that we
can promote our pages,
keep our communities together.
Yeah, that's also true.
It's the way we make money now. It's part of life. Like that's the way that capitalism works too. That's why talking to people, they can't even imagine a world without it, and we can't imagine a world without social media.
But Sam, you brought up a good point earlier that you were talking about they're trying to create more Republicans, and then I'm starting to think about what has happened ever since the Republican lost the election this year alone. The number of abortion heartbeat bills that are going through to keep people in poverty, the number of voting restrictions that are going in place, critical race theory in at least 12 to 15 states, transgender bills across the country, Texas, Tennessee. There's just an onslaught of all these bills.
Yeah. Yeah, as you had mentioned, the anti-abortion bills are really another way to keep people to vote Republican because it uses religion to get them on the issue, and then once they have kids, they are stuck in a poverty cycle that they will never escape. Like, that's the real reason they try to have the anti-abortion thing is to keep people in poverty. That's the main goal of anti-abortion laws.
But once they realize they lost the 2020 election, they're making damn fucking sure.
It's a battle. They have a battle plan that they are pushing forward. That's what this is. That's what we're saying.
And you think about it, you also, like, a lot of our youth are saying they don't even want kids. And so
I took proactive steps to make sure I will never have kids,
right?
And I'm happy about it because I don't want to raise I do not want to even attempt to raise a child.
We
right
are,
now
like,
in this fucking world.
We're all past our 30s. We are going to see horrors that this world has never seen before. Like even COVID was something that this world had never seen before. Like, we are going to see climate crises and problems and income inequality that this world hasn't seen. So our kids and our kids' kids, like, they are inheriting a dying world.
And we've talked about this before where, like, had I known what this past 16 years were like, we're going to be like, I don't know if I would have chose to have a kid. I probably wouldn't have. I don't regret having my kid. I love my kid. But when my kid talks about not wanting to bring kids into this world, I'm like, high five, you know?
But you still have, in the back of your mind, you still have to be scared of what your child's going to see, 20 years after.
I mean, the pandemic was really hard for me. Like, I think about your teenage years, you have heightened emotions anyway. And
losing a whole year of your teenage years.
You have you're losing that social time. Everybody's talking about how deadly this disease is, and when you have heightened emotions, like the stress that puts on you, when they already have the stress of like global warming and all this other stuff, I just couldn't even fucking imagine what these kids.
And it's getting worse, especially if you live in a Republican-controlled state and governorship, because while you may get to vote for who represents you in your state, you don't get to vote against a certain majority of the laws that they get to pass, whether you want them to or not. Mm-mm. I mean, that's kind of how this country works, anyways. But
and then we get people like India Cannon who
ran on a platform and fucked us.
Yeah, she completely duped us. She made it seem that she was going to be like so progressive. Mm-hmm. Fuck her.
She's the ultimate liberal. She is the boss Karen at the end of the game. Like
she got a mention on.
Tucker Carlson gave her a nice little shout out in her liberal neo-communist neoliberal ways.
Yeah, but of course. Well, we're saying she won't do enough, but she's like, being liberal, she's sitting in the middle there and trying to cater everybody. He's talking on his show, I guess, about how, I don't know if it was a show or just an article, but
he had an interview with, what was that, Guatemala? Which state was that?
I have no fucking clue, but
it was some South American state, South American country that was, the places like Chicago and even Knoxville.
Knoxville was up in the gun shootings. That's right.
Right. Yeah, but he's making it sound like Ken Cannon is like this far leftist, and like it's just
Compared to his platform, she is.
Oh, that's true. It was El Salvador, by the way. So he's thinking people in Chicago should try to claim asylum in El Salvador. Isn't that fucking weird though? Isn't he like total like anti immigrant anyways? So, but now he's pushing this just because
he just wants them out of the
he's
country.
just jerking his base off. That's all he fucking does.
I can't wait until Kincannon runs for another election and she has her fucking people call me. Are you gonna vote for her? You voted for her last time. I can't fucking wait to go off on them. I won't know you. I'm gonna have a script. I'm gonna have to pull it up. I'm like, oh, hold on one second. I wrote this out. Do you have 30 minutes?
I'm kind of a pain in the ass to those people who text anyway. Whether I'm voting for the person or not, like the 4 Bernie bros texting me, I gave them shit every fucking time. And it's not giving them a hard time. It was more, I think one of the messages asked them, when the DNC fucks us like they did last time, are you willing to mass produce guillotines? And I just get a, thank you, have a good day.
Yeah, there's no eat the rich, but there is no leftist, there is no leftists of this country. We have a far-right group, but there really isn't a far-left group. Mm-mm. We're pretty underground, saying that the workers need to seize the means.
It's almost like we're on the fringe.
Yeah. I mean, the point is that view is on the fringe, but helping a fascist dictator seize power is not a fringe idea on the right anymore.
What's a little frustrating, though, is that these Republican governorships, lawmakers, they happily just push through all this agenda to do whatever they can to keep, like what I mentioned before, keep people in poverty, develop Republicans, fuck women's rights over.
So they can keep having abortions.
Right. And then, fuck over the teaching of the critical race theory, teaching that this country is inherently racist through its through its justice, through its history. But you don't really see a lot of that from the other side. The Democrats aren't pushing bills to protect. They don't play the same game. They don't play as fucking dirty, and they need to. I mean, I know we're not Democrats, but we tend to vote for them. But they don't play nearly as dirty. They don't vote to gerrymander the fuck out of places when they have power.
Exactly. They are there's the far right and then the centrists. That's like the political spectrum doesn't go left.
Yeah, and fuck Joe Manchin. I
don't even think
Jesus Christ.
Joe Manchin's a Republican in everything but name.
Oh my God! This week, Joe Manchin just.
Oh yeah, so that was one of the only stories that came out this week that Joe Manchin flipped his stance as soon as he got a bunch of corporate money.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's what we've been saying of why we say that you need to eat the rich, because incremental change through voting. Yay!
Eat them.
How are you going to game the system when they own the system?
Yeah, when all it takes is money to turn because of right now the makeup of the fucking Senate 50-50. They knew who to fucking go to because he's already a fucking centrist anyways.
And all it would take for us is some big knives and a smoker.
Don't get a suit out. We're gonna have fucking Secret Service knocking on our door.
COVID vaccine statistics are pretty much right down party lines of who of.
Yeah,
You're
it really
kidding.
is.
It's almost like the whole COVID thing became a political issue.
No, so like what Sam was saying, that when you look at states that Biden won versus states that Trump won, the ones that Biden won are actually nearing the goal set forth by Biden, and it looks like now the
goal, the number of vaccinated people is leveling off. The people that have it want it.
That's the new report came out that is becoming increasingly unlikely that Joe Biden's goal by July 4th is not going to be reached because of that very fact. I know we had our vaccine episode.
So speaking of vaccines, got the hospital down in Houston that suspended 178 employees for refusing the COVID vaccine.
They're in healthcare.
Yeah.
These people are in healthcare, and they think that they can just refuse the vaccine.
It amazes me of what level of healthcare you can get to without any actual knowledge. I see it all the times. Like, sorry, nurses, but a lot of you are fucking stupid around here. Like, just because you have a nursing degree doesn't mean you really understand science. That's the problem.
So it's actually a very large group. Apparently, it's 25,000 of Houston Methodist staff members have been inoculated, but 178 who did not get religious or medical exemptions were suspended without pay, including 27 who were only partly vaccinated. So I guess they're just fucking lazy. Those 27 were just lazy, or they feared the second shot.
They had a deadline, and they still have the option to meet that deadline.
How far is
or to get that second vaccine, and they will be reinstated. But if some of them may have gotten it, like they got their first shot 2 weeks ago, and the deadline was this week, so they have to wait to go back to work.
And so, even more so, 285 unvaccinated who received, I guess, medical or religious exemptions, and 332 who were granted deferrals. I'm not sure what their reasoning for that were, but so a collective of about 1,000 healthcare workers unvaccinated and around people in there with.
Some of them could have had like medical issues, or like be planning or have a medical procedure themselves that maybe they didn't want them vaccinated too closely to.
But
I know when you go to get the vaccine, there's certain things that ask you, like, have you done this within, like, medically related? Have you done this within this much time period? So it seems like there could be some things that it's a concern that you do too close together, like it could have a negative effect.
I mean, but I'm actually surprised that in the state of Texas that the hospital is taking a stand for people who refuse to get this what I'm going to say, the fucking life-saving vaccine. If it's not their life, it's their patient's life who may not, be able to get it. Or any, it's not. They're not
Houston, so it's like Nashville or Knoxville here. The rest of the state's shit. But Houston's more democratic.
I keep trying to do research, and I come up with that nobody that's really gotten the vaccine has died from COVID. Has caught COVID after getting vaccinated and died from it.
Now, if you look at YouTube, that is a lie.
Yeah, Sam, you're just not looking at the right YouTube channel, Sam.
I haven't been taken down the right rabbit hole yet.
I'll give you I'll red pill you, Sam.
Yeah,
it's fine.
That lady that died last week in a car accident got the vaccine.
The kid died in the car
that day. So the EEOC had already decided that it's perfectly within an employer's right to require the vaccine, as long as they make reasonable accommodations under the Americans with Disability Act.
Right, and have you seen all those damn Facebook posts that it's against HIPAA violations for someone to ask you if you've been vaccinated? I'm like, no, it's fucking not. Like,
I like it.
You're completely misunderstanding what HIPAA fucking is.
I like it because everybody who makes those posts, they spell it HIPPA. And it's like if you knew anything about the HIPAA laws, you would know it's HIPAA. Like, that's...
I've seen it. You're right. I have seen it spelled that way the entire time. And it's because someone posted it, made it look somewhat official, and then...
We discussed this on the show, too. They use pseudoscience terms and make it sound like they know what they talk about. And as long as there's some kind of scientific terms in there, people just stop right there. And they're like, I don't know what that term means, so this must be right. Because it's beyond my understanding.
I've actually had conversations with employees who believe that was the case, that we couldn't require them if we went. Now, our company doesn't, but there's nothing to stop us from doing so, from requiring a vaccine or asking if they've been vaccinated or anything like that. But they saw, someone sees a meme on Facebook or TikTok. TikTok has been a big spread of misinformation and propaganda lately now, too.
TikTok's just gaining as a social media platform in general.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the most popular. I mean, not the most popular, but in terms of...
It's pretty entertaining. I do a lot of scrolling late at night.
Instagram, I think, from what I understand, and I'm on neither.
I have Insta. I don't get on it. I don't have a TikTok login or even the app. I let Reddit sort the TikTok videos for me on TikTok cringe, and so that's what I let Reddit do the work for me.
You only see the cringiest.
I only see it's called TikTok cringe, but honestly, you see some pretty fucking fabulous stuff on there. Like there is some good content on there, but I also know and have personally seen some horrendous like misinformation shit that people take as fucking gospel.
It's another thing that's run by algorithms, so
Yeah,
it will take you down the blue pill, red pill rabbit hole, whichever way you are.
That's why I refuse to log in. Then I don't have to make a choice. It won't learn me.
There was a great video I saw talking about. It was originally talking about flat Earth theory, and that we see flat Earth theory as this is a joke. But flat Earth theory is really one of those like red pill things to lead them into more dangerous things.
Yeah, all of it.
So a lot of these things, like, they all lead to the same, like, dark places. So we can laugh about it, but then eventually these people are going to be Q supporters, and they're going to be part of this uprising that's going to happen.
Right, we were talking before the show, I don't know if it may have been while we were recording earlier, that 30%, you said 30% of Trump supporters believe that Trump will be reinstated in August, so that's got to be all the Q people.
Yeah.
That's got to be all the Q people.
Yeah, I mean, it is Q theory. 30% of the Republican Party is owned by Q now.
Oh, speaking of Q, earlier I had talked about Q Clearance, the podcast. They're doing a second episode.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, or a second season. I'm really excited about that. It's a good podcast.
I'm just waiting for them to move the goalposts again when nothing happens in August.
They're trying to push so that something does happen. That's the goal. I mean, like,
Trump's not going to be reinstated.
Trump's not going to be reinstated, but they want to push their people to attempt another insurrection.
Oh, so
that's what they're wanting to do.
Speaking of Trump, I want to make fun of MyPillow Guy, Mike Lindell. He's on his Frank TV bullshit, whatever social thing that he has, said that the Supreme Court is going to rule 9-0 to overturn the election once they've seen all the gross evidence that they have that China, he's actually moved to China now, was one that hacked and changed millions of votes from Trump to Biden. And he's hosting this fucking...
From Trump to Biden? So Russia's trying to help Trump and China's helping Biden? Is this the narrative?
Apparently China has more people, so that I guess that's how they beat Russia in hacking the U.S. election. According to him.
They actually are better than Russia at hacking, but
they probably are.
Yeah.
I mean, and speaking of hacking, did you guys see that not only did the Colonial Pipeline they had to pay...
I was going to bring that up. That was my other story.
They paid the ransomware. They got some of it back. They got $2.5 million back. But the largest beef processing ended up paying $11 million to ransomware. Like, our infrastructure and security for some of our most critical things is fucking weak as shit.
The real wars that go on behind the scenes are a lot of hacking power grids. Like, that's really the thing. Like, that's the real war that's going on. I
saw a news article. I don't think I shared it with you guys. I just saw the headline, but it was talking about how insecure our infrastructure is to hacking and how there's a lot of concern right now.
Yeah, this is just the beginning.
Yeah,
this is just the beginning. There was two major things: the Colonial Pipeline, and then the U.S. largest beef processing.
Hell,
we do the same thing in other
Nashville
countries.
bombing kind of highlighted some of that too, where a bombing in front of an AT&T building in Nashville took down 911 systems a state or two states over. That highlighted how sensitive things are, where if you attack this small station here, you can knock out states worth of internet, phone service, 911, everything.
It's okay. Joe Manchin and the Republicans don't think we need a large infrastructure bill to pay for all these things.
Didn't that get passed?
No, it was gutted. If anything, the one that was represented by the GOP was severely gutted.
Okay.
Yeah, the initial one was 4.6. If anything, it's probably a trillion. I think it's billion, trillion. One of those.
Republicans are the enemy of the people. I'm talking about the voters too.
But I want to circle back to fucking make fun of Mike Lindell. So apparently, not only is the Supreme Court going to rule no Supreme Court right now, as divided as it is, going to rule 9-0 on fucking anything. but that's beside the point. He's hosting this fucking MAGA Frank rally.
Frank?
That's just because that's the name of his fucking like social thing. It's called Frank TV, which
okay.
You know,
Is that the name of the pillow that he bites?
But he's holding this like MAGA Frank rally, and like Donald Trump's gonna appear on a jumbotron, like I guess because not in person because he doesn't want to fucking be there. But like Dinesh D'Souza and his daughter's gonna be there. Fucking Charlie Kirk's gonna be there. Fucking Mike Lindell, of course, will speak, and they charge tickets for this thing that apparently
To
people
watch a
will
bunch
go
of people
to.
on a screen?
Yeah, I don't know if
Republicans are some gullible pieces of shit.
I think only Donald Trump will be on the screen. I think the others will be like in person.
Okay, they're getting their money's worth. Is Caitlyn
They're only
going
there-
to
they're
shit
all-
herself on stage or
they're-
something? I'd pay for that.
Fucking and so Diamond and Silk will be there from fucking Fox News. Although they don't think they're employed with it. I don't think they're with them anymore. Do you guys remember those fucking cats that I don't think they believe the fucking word they said. I think they just did that because they can, as young black women with Republican, as Republican Trump supporters, they can make a lot of fucking money because they know.
Yeah, they're called class traders, and they deserve the same thing that anyone.
I mean,
else
they're one of the most stigmatized groups.
Wow,
Women and people.
Well,
people
look
of
at
color.
Candace
and-
Owen, Andy No.
Candace Owen, go.
There's so many of them that they don't even realize they're just tokens.
I
Like
think
that-
They really are.
realize
They're-
that. No, that doesn't matter. They. I don't think it's that they don't realize. They just don't give a shit because they're
It
making
benefits
so much money.
them, yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
I don't.
what
I don't
makes
wanna,
them traitors.
I don't want to say that we think that all people of color should be, not Republicans. That's not the point. I think that they are very much
I might
token.
go that far to say it. I don't know.
That party is not for them.
I don't think any poor person should be a Republican.
True.
If you
Yeah.
are not a billionaire, you don't need to be a Republican. Nobody has a right to be a billionaire or to be a Republican if you are not the super rich because it's not benefiting you otherwise.
That's true.
So anyone is a traitor to their class and their fellow people by voting Republican, no matter their race, ethnicity, if they're not actually benefiting. Like I said, even millionaires don't really benefit from Republicans. They're just tricked to thinking they do.
You have to be like even a middle class white male. Like that doesn't benefit you. It just doesn't harm you. The best, and I think that's maybe the point. Even I think it doesn't harm them, and their religious values get pushed forward. So that maybe it could be a thing for that. But aside from that,
Religion is so gross.
yeah, and a lot of these people are single fucking issue voters, like Sam said. You tack on abortion to anything, and that's how you get one person to vote for that candidate, regardless of what other else they have on their fucking platform.
Yeah,
That's it.
Fucking morons is what we
Because
call them in the
religion
industry.
drives a lot. I know we talked about that teacher earlier about critical race theory. We have the other one in Virginia who was initially suspended or removed, I'm not sure, I think it's removed, for refusing to acknowledge a person's gender by their gender identity. He was reinstated pending the trial. And I kind of want to read... You said religion is gross. I thought this was fucking gross as soon as I saw in this interview what he said. I love all of my students, but I never lie to them regardless of the consequences. I'm a teacher, but I serve God first, and I will not affirm that a biological boy can be a girl and vice versa because it's against my religion. It's lying to my child, it's abuse to a child, and it's sinning against our God.
I don't know how he talks about biology and religion in the same sentence like they support each other.
I mean, he put God before anything anyway, so,
Yeah.
I mean, God is the creator of biology, so if God made you
God's the creator of transgender people then. Fuck him. Like,
No, that's not real. If you have
that's safe.
if you
You
have
got
if
it.
you have a penis, you're a boy. If you have a vagina, you're a girl, and that's all they know. Because they don't know.
since angels don't have genitals, or they, them, do we call angels by non-binary pronouns?
Yeah.
What are religious people's stance on angel pronouns? Is Gabriel a they, them because they don't have genitals? We need a preacher to answer this question.
It's a really good question, though.
I haven't really thought about the genitals of angels in a while, Sam. So
They
thanks
don't
for
have
that.
genitals, so there's nothing to think about.
Is that? I didn't know that, honestly. That's the thing I didn't know.
Yeah, so why are we trying to gender angels when they do not have they don't have male or female parts. I think that this is what we need to ask these people. We'll get down to the real questions.
Yeah, he further told...
Is it okay for Gabriel to
So
be
he further-
non-binary?
There
It's
was
okay because he's just a spinning wheel of eyes. Who cares?
We were talking about TikTok earlier, and I found this lady. She has a kid that's about 5 or 6 years old, and he gets out of school, and he's in the back seat of his car. She's like recording conversations with her kids, and he starts talking to his sister. He's like, "Yeah, I got let's talk about God." And she's like, "A lot of people believe in him." A lot of people believe in him. But I don't, because I don't know a whole lot about him. Or he said a lot of people love him. And he's like, well, let's talk more about him. He's like, God's bi and non-binary. And the mom's like, what the fuck? And she's like, why is God bi? It's like,
he loves everyone.
He loves everyone.
Yeah.
He's like, well, how's he non-binary? The mom, it's funny as the mom kind of pauses and she's thinking. And she can't come up with anything. She's like, okay, well, how's he non-binary? She's like, he wears a dress and he's a man. And she's sitting there and she's like, you have any more fun facts?
These are good things that we are going to use later to explode religious people's heads.
I love the thinking about it. It's like, do I have anything? Because I've been there with my own child, where they come up with something that at first I'm like, this is completely ridiculous. And then I ask more questions, and as they answer my questions, I'm like, fuck, I can't even argue this logic. This, they're right.
Let me give you an example today of how gross religion is. And he doesn't listen to the show, so it's fine. I'll talk about him. One of my employees in Clinton, I saw him talking to someone. He was out there on a smoke break, and he was at this car. And so I stepped away to go do a thing, and I came back some minutes later. He's still talking to this person in the car. And when he comes inside, he goes, man, why didn't you save me? I'm like, well, text me. I would have done that. He's like, yeah, he was out there preaching at me for at least 15 minutes. And in part of this preaching, I swear to God, this is what he'll relate to me, that without God, I don't know what would stop me from actually murdering people and killing people. This guy was so, thinks that only without someone watching him. That's fucking... I don't know if you can self-own even harder than that, how big of a piece of shit you are, that if you don't have Big Papa Sky Daddy watching over you, that you would commit murder.
So, do you end up having a conversation with your employees who proselytize to others like
they
that?
They don't do that at work. That is not permitted. So they can't proselytize to each other at work.
So because they were outside on
he was outside, some random, one of our customers was talking to him. So he was inside doing a transaction. He noticed out there, and so apparently previously in conversation, he had asked him if he believed in God. He's like, no. He's one of the few atheist employees that I have, and apparently that's just fucking spurned him ever since. And so he's been trying to every time. Now this is a customer. Spent 15 minutes and just. I was appalled that people actually, and he's not the only one that believe this or who think that the only thing keeping them in fucking line is that Sky Daddy will get them if they don't behave. And that's, I don't know, if you can show less compassion for your fellow human, fellow man.
It's funny because these people, we learn that this doesn't stop them.
These are the same people who think we get empathy from God.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't stop them in the
because
end.
They don't understand where else it can come from.
They're still bastards.
They don't understand where else it can come from. They don't think that,
Experience. It comes from experience.
And the fact that we live in a goddamn society and we rely on other fucking people to live and to live happily. And we understand that, I'm not going to quote the golden rule, but you want to treat people like you hope to be treated yourself.
I don't know. Can you really teach empathy? That's something I've been asking myself. Can you teach it? Do people just have it? Or
you can help someone understand
a little more.
Maybe.
A little more, but you can't give somebody that doesn't have it.
That's why I said a lot of it comes
you
from
can
experience. When certain things happen to you, you gain some, and once you start gaining some empathy, then when you listen to other people's stories, you can build onto that. But I think a lot of it has to do with...
I think it does come with... Yeah, you're right. It does come with experience. That's one of the reasons why we recruit young people to be in the military, because they don't have the empathy to give a shit about killing people yet.
Mm.
And I saw an article today as well on NBC that black churches are actually struggling to get millennials and Gen Zers to come to their church.
Isn't that all churches right now?
But it was more of a struggle because for the black community, were more religious than the white counterparts.
Well, yeah, but now,
and now they're struggling.
I've been seeing
That was their
more
oppressor's religion too, though.
I've been seeing more black people pointing out that this is a religion of our oppressors.
It's exactly what was in the article.
Ours was taken from us.
That's
this
exactly
is
what was
not
in the
our
article.
Religion. We should not be following this.
So it was on NBC. They reached out to people who would either stop going to the church and that's exactly what what some of those reasons were. And at that, I think it's right now 32% of black millennials and Gen Zers aren't religiously affiliated, compared to 75% of, 11% of boomers.
So, like, here in Knoxville, we have this organization called Emerald Youth Foundation that pretty much preys upon the children in the black community. The city helps fund a lot of their stuff, like this. They built this big-ass... I don't really know what it is. Like, they have some sports fields there. I think they do after-school stuff. It's a big-ass building that the city funded a good chunk of it. And I know with FFRF, East Tennessee, we tried to shut it down. And one of our issues was they had a chapel. Well, we presented this, and when it became an issue of church-state separation, they're like, well, it's a worship center, non-denominational, or something like that. And yeah, big old letters, Emerald Youth Worship Center that the city funded. But, like, I always think about this, like, every time I drive past that building, because it irks me so much. But, like, they say that, there's so much violence, all this shit's wrong in America because we took God out of schools, and if we get God back in our children... If that were the case, Emerald Youth has been preying upon the black youth in our community for fucking years upon years now. Why do we have so much violence?
Because religion doesn't solve those things.
It doesn't.
It's a guise. It's a I hate to say pulling the wool over, but it's just a distraction.
It's a different set of chains.
It is. It absolutely is. But it's just like, if religion did everything that it said it did, Austin East probably wouldn't have experienced half of the shit that they've had to deal with this year.
Well, if religion did whatever religion said it would, then prayer would actually fucking work.
We wouldn't have starving kids. We wouldn't have kids dying of cancer. That's why I hate every fucking time some Christian gets pissed off at something I said, and they're like, well, I'll pray for you. Why would you waste your fucking prayers on me when there are people in this world that could actually greatly benefit from divine intervention? Because I'm doing just fucking fine.
Even ignoring the supernatural aspects for people that are going to try to... I mean, we are way past that in the atheist society, pretending that any of that's real. But some other people will argue that there are some beneficial things that religion do outside of being bullshit. It gives people hope. Even that empty phrase. Well,
and not to sound like a... Okay, I'm going to sound like a dick.
You could say that about, like, you're saying the black community is dropping that. I think a lot of people for so long, they've always said, oppressed people do group around religion. Religion, one thing that religion is great for is making people combine together under a single means, and that's why they accomplish things.
That's very true.
That's why religion is one of those things that's written into our DNA for our stupid little monkey brains to latch onto, is because it will combine us together, and then together we can do great things. That's why humans are inherently fascist.
And I'm going to sound like a complete dick here because I see these posts on Facebook, and I do have a lot of people in there who are religious. I don't really interact with those posts as much as I fucking want to because I know it would be a dick move to do so. Case in point, yesterday... someone they'd met, a friend, colleague, I don't even know, 51 years, stage 4 cancer, terminal, and is dying. Please pray for them. I'm like, pray for what? That's your God at work, bitch. Like, I don't understand like what they think prayer is going to do for a terminally ill cancer patient.
I've been told that they're not praying for that
they're
patient
praying
to
for the
live.
afterlife.
They're praying for his passing.
Yeah. Or they're praying for them to get into heaven and have a great time.
Of course, when I
party
challenged
with
that
Jesus later.
and said, so if your kid has cancer, are you not going to pray for them to survive? Because
Just
they
get
had
to
just
Jesus
told
faster
me.
already.
Right.
Like,
Well,
this doesn't make
die
sense to
quickly
me.
and get
But
to
they don't even.
Jesus.
That's the thing, though. They don't even fucking know. They don't know why they're praying.
They don't, and it's also kind of, I think, hypocritical to think that if their belief is that they're all loving, all knowing, wise, never mistaking God has this ultra divine plan.
They're killing their kid to put them through a test.
No.
maybe.
What the fuck is prayer doing? Are you asking God to change his mind because he's wrong? Right? If something is happening and it's God's purpose, and you're praying for an outcome for other than what is currently going on right now at this moment where something is going, is that not you asking?
Then they're asking
It
for
is.
strength. Then what they're praying for is they're asking for strength to get through this test.
No, that's not what they're doing. Someone
It
will pray for their
changes.
child.
When you ask them about it, it changes. And if you challenge that, they'll change again why they're praying. They don't know. They've been told to do it, and they do it.
Yeah.
The same people that call us sheep call their Lord a shepherd. There's a reason they call their Lord a shepherd. Because they follow the fucking herd. They do exactly what they're fucking told
And
to
without
do.
questioning, a lot
Without
of times.
questioning,
because
yeah.
if you really think about it on a logical level, prayer makes no fucking sense when you believe what you believe. It really just honestly does not.
If you want to prove to me that prayer works, do this for me.
no one listening will
Pray. They may.
Okay.
If you want to prove to me that prayer works, pray that Trump dies of a heart attack on January 30th.
Wait, why so long? Well, listen, it's
January 30th is my birthday.
Oh, okay.
Give me a birthday present here.
Well, I would say that they're more praying to... Okay, so a lot of these rituals that Christians do are more about... It took me a long time to realize this, actually. Even, like, I've been with you guys in the Atheist Society for years, and it's only kind of recently I realized that a lot of the rituals they go through are more for the religion and not so much for them. The act of praying is more for indoctrinating them further into it than it is for them personally. It's more of I am showing my fealty to God. Like... I'm going through a hard time, but I am still... It's, the fucking Lot thing. Like, I am going through a hard time, but I am still loyal to you, and this will... In the end, this hardship will bring me closer to you. It's an act of fealty. It's an act of connecting themselves and indoctrinating themselves further into the religion, more than it is about worrying of what's actually going to happen.
I think it also has to do with, notice me too when it comes to
Notice
like,
me, senpai.
yeah.
Senpai God.
Yeah.
I think
There's
a lot of that has to do with
that.
it. There's fucking amazing video. I wish I can pull it up and show you guys. It was the Thoughts and Prayers app. Like, who has time for that? Let the
An
Thoughts
app?
and Prayers. It was like it would do it for you automatically. So so it was like seamless Thoughts and Prayers app for you. So just make it even easier to be
Isn't
like
that
fucking
what
useless.
prayer lists are for?
It's an automated prayer
Listen,
list.
okay, I'm really gonna hope this doesn't happen. So someone just at work again asked, someone that came in like, "Are you religious?" Like, yeah, I'll add you to my list, to my prayer list. I'm
Can
like,
you pray that I'm going to get my graphics card?
fuck you,
He
Sam.
got it,
My
he got
prayers
it.
have been answered, and I now have
I
my
guess they
graphic.
work. I guess you have to praise Jesus now.
I have my graphics cards put together by tiny China children over in.
Wasn't that just
I'm
a
almost
happenstance
positive-
that happened? I guess it couldn't have worked without the glory of God.
You know
I've
what?
been hearing about this damn graphics card for a year and a half. I'm almost positive.
No, so it started in November it was the RTX 3080 when NVIDIA released it, and I was like, I'm not ready to buy a PC. I don't need to buy this right now. And then, fucking, of course, this is COVID, so China plants were shut down. There's a massive chip shortage. On top of that, there's this massive, cryptocurrency, Ethereum.
Yeah.
People were, buying all these cards for mining, and then because of the chip shortage, then that's when these bots became involved to just immediately buy up all this stock. And like a card that would cost retail for $700 or $800, which they're already increasing in cost already. These graphics cards are way higher than they used to be, 4 to 8 years ago. But a card that would cost $1,200 retail, they're selling that shit for $3,000 on eBay. And I'm not going to pay scalpers prices, so I'm looking every day, refreshing. But these bots are fucking better than me, and they always will be. And so I entered a lottery on Newegg, and I was selected as one of the few to be able to purchase this item. Not the one I wanted, but who's going to be able to be selective at this point? So my prayers have been answered, and I'm a proud owner of a RTX 3080 Ti.
I guess you have to convert now.
I do have to convert. I might as well. Shit. I mean, this is I never thought this day would come.
You should go for Mormonism.
Bitcoins for Jesus?
Bitcoins. No, actually, so it's funny because I'm not going to talk too techie, but this particular graphics card, they cut the mining hash rate, so this card is not made for miners.
Okay.
So
it's specifically to run video games.
It is.
It's for the ray tracing.
It is for the. And I'm gonna ray trace some Minecraft. I'm just kidding. I don't play Minecraft.
I mean.
But yeah, back to I sidetracked there with some humor. It was religion does play a terrible part in society, and I think it also keeps poor people poor because you have the people.
Give us your seed
Money. Prosperity gospel is a big thing. Tithing, of course. Did you guys see that church that fucking shamed their non-tithers? They put the fucking pictures and shit or a list.
Just one church?
There's the one that I saw. There was an image of fucking non-tithers. They shamed them. They fucking shamed them on a wall. For those who,
and there were many letters going out to members of churches shaming them for not doing their tithes during COVID when they didn't have fucking jobs.
I am not going to shed a single fucking tear for any of the sheer number of churches that ended up closing during COVID. Not a single fucking one.
Nope.
None.
I wish it were more.
I mean, they never stopped meeting. Like, they are one of the spreaders, and they continue to be.
I remember I just had a fucking... I was having a fine day until one Sunday night. It was the night service, which is... The night services typically bring less people than the daytime services. A night service, and I drive past this church. Like, it's right around Thanksgiving where... Everything's already fucking spiking all around us.
Oh, no, this was Knoxville was number one in the country.
Oh, yes, November, I see this church parking lot full. Like, I was so mad and frustrated that I cried for days. I was like, fucking, all these people are dying. These selfish fucking people.
I'm not gonna shed a tear over those people. Jesus Christ.
No, I don't care about them. None of us got our vaccines at that time. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about the fact that there are kids going to school.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking about the fact that I was getting ready to send my kid back to school. And then we had Christmas coming up. I'm like, these people are going to fucking kill me. They're going to kill my kid. They're going to kill every fucking buddy because they're selfish. And their rights to fucking go to church are like superior to everybody's right to fucking live.
Yeah, you had churches in several states suing their state because to fight the governor's restrictions on how many people can meet at one time.
Freedom from religion.
And then we wonder why the plague killed everybody.
Yeah,
I mean, churches had a huge impact in how it spread in this country.
Absolutely, but because they press the fact that you need to go to church and you need to tithe, you need to come and pray to the Lord, and again, just another reason why religion is just fucking toxic.
It just stacks onto my reasons why religion has done way more harm in this world than they have done good.
Well, it's how many times have it stifled and continuing right now, stifling scientific exploration. That's another fucking downfall of religion. The stem cell thing, of course, then obviously early history. But it'll continue to anything they don't like. The hell, the Catholics came out against one of the vaccines because they claimed it had fucking aborted fetal cell fucking...
That's why I feel so good.
But
now the virus is killing down party lines.
It kind of generally was the whole time.
It was too. But like Al was saying, you had to worry about it before. I don't have kids. I just kept my head down through that whole time.
Yeah.
And didn't see anybody other than my small circle. But
I had a kid that was born with lung issues.
Well, that was
man,
before.
this thing kept me fucking paranoid until I got my kid was in the age range that can be vaccinated. And now, I'm more chill about it, but, during those months and thinking about my kid who has a history of lung issues, Yeah, I was highly fucking concerned about it.
Churches sure as shit weren't, though.
No.
So.
Because, yeah, selfish, inconsiderate,
Well,
assholes.
Talking about assholes, how about we do some ACAB of the week?
All right.
This is ACAB of the week.
A woman right now is suing the state of Arkansas, or the police, because the story is she was going down the interstate or a highway, and she was switching lanes, got in front of the cop or whatever, and the cop turned on his lights. She turned on her flashers, but she felt like the shoulder was too slim for her to really fit in there.
It did look kind of narrow.
Yeah,
on the video I saw.
And so she turned on her flashers to look for a safe space to turn over.
Did she slow down too, or did she keep
slowed down?
Okay.
And the officer that had his lights on decided to do a pit maneuver on her, and it caused her to hit the cement wall and flip over. She was pregnant at the time.
How long was he following her?
3 minutes, less than 3 minutes. And there is an exit less than a mile away.
So did she get into the right-hand lane at least to signify that she
was already in the left-hand lane.
She was the left-hand lane or the right?
Or the right-hand lane.
Okay.
She was already there.
Signaled that she acknowledged that he was there,
Mm-hmm.
slowed her rate of speed, but continued to where she felt it would be a safe place to pull over. This motherfucker got impatient and performed a pit maneuver.
Yes. And the state defended his actions because
No, of course.
They said that there's all these accidents due to drivers leading police on high-speed chases, cutting in and out of traffic. She wasn't doing any of these things, though. In fact, you couldn't even see any other cars on the highway that they were on. It was just like there weren't cars passing or anything. She wasn't passing cars. She was driving. She slowed down, and she likely, we don't know because he didn't give her the chance, she likely would have gotten off at the next exit, gone to a gas station. What gets me is when I shared this episode to you guys, I did a little research. I just Googled flashers, police, pullover. And what I found were multiple articles talking about how the police suggest if there is not a safe place that you feel comfortable to pull over, you turn your flashers on to acknowledge to police that you see them there, and you drive until you find a safe place to pull over.
Yeah, this happened in Arkansas. Mm. Yeah, so case in point, someone on Reddit had a conversation. I don't know if it was on Tumblr or they reposted it, but someone had mentioned the article. Someone posted like, "Well, they're supposed to just pull over, do what you're supposed to do." And someone's like, "They literally did what Arkansas cops say to do in that situation," and posted their blurb. I think you shared the same image to the chat where they're like, "Yeah, flashers on, slow down to the right." This individual, this woman, pregnant woman. Not to charge the story, but the driver did everything they were supposed to do in that situation to acknowledge that there was an officer behind them and they were going to comply with the traffic stop, and then gets pitted and flips the SUV, endangering the life of herself and.
I can't remember his name
child.
right now, but the guy who was driving that truck, the military guy, active duty, who was tased in his truck.
Yes.
The officer told him he should be scared.
Carino, I believe his name was?
Yeah, it was the same exact situation. He put on his flashers and waited till he was in a well-lit space where he felt safe. And this was, when I lived in Nashville, I may have mentioned it then. There was somebody who was going down the dark back roads of Nashville and turning on he had fake dash lights. So he was pulling women over and sexually assaulting them. And so I remember during this period seeing news every night telling women, if you're getting pulled over, turn your flashers on, slow down, and wait until you are in a well-lit area before pulling over. So now, after years and years of giving people this advice, police are doing shit like this, doing pit maneuvers that can kill somebody. And it's like, so what is the right thing to do? You told people to do this, and now you're like fucking
impatient motherfucker.
Yeah. Now you're not following your own fucking rules.
And then yet he was a state trooper.
Yeah,
and so the state defended his actions, and he's not going to face any kind of reprimands or.
Now, well, with the lawsuit, there may be some changes now that
there
it's
was a
getting
lawsuit.
publicity.
You're right.
But yeah, the state initially defended it and said he did he did what he was supposed to do, even though she did what she was supposed to do.
What they literally post to do, like instruction by instruction, she followed.
That just goes to show, like, there's nothing we can do right. Police are always justified in what they do. Even if we follow their fucking advice, they can still do shit to harm us, to put us in danger.
You mentioned Carino. I know you mentioned Carino, the guy in the truck, the military guy that pulled over. Even worse in his situation, because they were giving him conflicting commands.
Yeah, well, they do that a lot.
And, there was no right situation for him whatsoever in that case. So it really is a system of you're just fucked either way. Mm-hmm. And whatever the cop decides to do is whatever the cop's going to get to do, and a lot of times, and they get away with it. In majority of cases, they get away with it.
Yep.
Sam, you got something to say on that?
Break the policeman's union.
It's 100% police unions. They need to fucking crash and burn.
I have a horrible story for us. It's kind of, I think you saw it last night. Another ACAB. Fucking Minnesota State Trooper, Albert Kuhn. So he pulls over, I guess, a woman who he claims is intoxicated. She gets into a car wreck, and while she's in the ambulance, like, he took the phone from her because she made a call while she's in the car. He tells her to give him the phone. While the ambulance and the EMTs are looking at her, he's going through her phone, finds illicit photos of her, nudes, partially nudes, and texts them to his personal device, and then deletes them. Deletes the sent items. But it's an iPhone. It's synced to the cloud. Her iMac reported that those texts and images were sent. And when they called that number, he answered. And that's when he then had to admit that he did do those things. Now, he was ultimately fired.
Wow.
So he actually faced repercussions for his actions.
Yeah. So actually, he actually pled guilty to the charge of non-consensual dissemination of private sexual images. But because he pled guilty, they reduced it to a misdemeanor.
So he's not on a sex offenders list.
I don't know if he would be for sharing, disseminating
with
information.
Himself? Come on.
I don't know if that would qualify.
He basically stole them.
Yeah, he stole them. Yeah, he stole them and sent them to himself.
I think that would be stealing someone. One thing I was going to bring up, just that I thought was funny, is as leftists, we're like, we want strong unions, but not police unions. That's the only union. Yep. So we love unions. Unions are great for workers.
Well, because
not cops.
Policemen's union ends up being the strongest union in the fucking world.
Yep.
And we fucking hate it.
Yeah, because
it's the fascist union.
Because
there's a way to marry fascism and unions.
So
and that's
it's the unions for the state are good, and the unions for the people are shit.
Yeah, so it's because we've talked about that. We talked about it recently, where these unions fight to protect officers who are very blatantly in the wrong in all these situations to get them reinstated, and the police chief can't do shit about it. So
yeah,
but I can't imagine this is the first time this shit's happened. He just got caught because there was it synced to the iCloud. Mm-hmm. I mean, any number of times. That's why never fucking give your phone to a police officer. Lock that shit down.
Do not use the fucking finger or facial recognition shit. Use a fucking passcode on your phone.
If you do happen to use biometrics, there are certain ways you can bypass that. I know on the iPhone, you can just press a power button several times to immediately restrict any and all biometrics. The passcode must be re-entered. So I had that option.
How many times do you have to hit it again?
I can do it within 1 second.
How many times do you have to hit it? 5 times.
It is 5 times for iOS. You can do that in 1 second. It will also call SOS as well. So that option will be there as well. Like have that audio rolling while you're doing it if you're being detained, but it also locks it and prevents any biometrics. They can't hold the phone to your face, they can't force your fingerprint. It will require an actual passcode.
Facebook is, or not Facebook, iPhone's doing more and more to help you with the cop shit. Because they're the ones who have the shortcut where you can start filming, like, as soon as you use a certain phrase.
There's
like on
app.
mine,
Oh,
I think it's, hey Siri, fuck the police. I didn't do it this time, good. But yeah, if I say that loud enough, my phone will automatically, it dims my screen and it starts recording everything that happens.
Is that a Siri shortcut you programmed? Or?
Yeah,
okay.
It'll send a text message to my kid and somebody else just to let them know, hey, this is going. The other person is the person who would bail me out if there's ever an issue, or will come an adult who can come help me. So, but yeah, iPhone has a few little things that keep you secure.
For the feature, I think that I mentioned has to be work. I think you have to have SOS enabled. If you disable it because you accidentally trigger it a lot, then you may not. Because I've accidentally triggered SOS because it's in my back pocket and I move around a lot. Like I'll back up against the desk and it'll press the button, and I've actually triggered the SOS. Like it blurs this alarm letting you know that in 3 seconds, authorities will be called.
Oh shit!
Yeah. So but then that also locks the device to biometrics. I'm not sure if Android has anything. Sam, you know anything about that?
Never heard my thing is going to rat me out to the police. No.
Well, I do like you said. I do like that Apple will fight. Apple will 100% fight against law enforcement.
Yeah, but SOS doesn't necessarily have to be law enforcement, right?
I'm not sure who I have this program to.
I believe you can, because I think mine is set up to call friends of mine who. It's pretty much my family members that will actually like it. If I'm in, they're my emergency contact people. So I think that's who my phone.
But I would 100% make sure my phone's locked, because that's fucking disgusting that this person is being attended to by emergency personnel after the car accident. He's going through her phone. They actually have him in the car recording at the same time the texts were sent. So he was inside his vehicle, scrolling through the phone, looking for these images, finds them, and then texts them to himself. Like,
what a fucking pig!
What,
And,
that's fucking gross. But like, dude,
it's not his first time.
It's not his first time. But like, why? Like, what's so special about this random person?
He was specifically looking for it.
There's porn online for free. I don't get
No,
that.
no. Yeah, he was specifically looking for it.
It's because he gets off
Because of the
on
power?
knowing. Yeah, it's a power thing.
Why do you think he has that job? Like,
Yeah.
why do you think police join the force? Because all cops are bastards, but a lot of them are bastards just period, and that's why they become cops. Like, becoming a cop will make you a bastard. The whole job process of becoming a police officer is around becoming a bastard. The only good cop is, and I know specific people, I have a couple of friends who started going through the process of becoming a police officer, and then they're like, wow, I see what this is trying to do to me, and then stopped and left. Those are the only good cops, the ones that understand what's happening and leave. But a lot of these people go into it because they are bastards, not that it makes them bastards. But it does make them bastards.
I'm trying to be serious right now, but Alistair won't stop playing with boobies over there. Like,
They bounce.
they are. Something else I wanted to mention that I don't know if you guys saw this. Apple actually had to pay out $6 or $7 million to a woman who sent her phone in for repair to a third party. Some sick bastard went through her photos, texted them to himself there too, and it was some sort of third party repair facility that Apple had contracted through, so they had to pay out. But Apple still had to pay out. Like, people are fucking gross. But the fact that an officer was doing this to a person in a fucking ambulance, fucking gross, man. ACAB.
ACAB all day long. All
Yes.
cops.
Well, so it's like correction, talking about how to activate or how to lock your phone or send to SOS. If you want to quickly make sure your biometrics don't work, if you do like, because I like to have biometrics on my phone. It's handy. I use it a lot. But if the 5 button presses on iOS doesn't work, just for people listening, if you hold the power button and one of the volume buttons to do a screenshot, just hold that longer. It'll activate the same menu. Hitting cancel will override any biometric say passcode will be required. So, but for me, and I think it worked for you too. The 5 buttons worked for you as well.
5 buttons, or both of them work on my phone.
I think it's handy. Like if I need to quickly make sure my biometrics will not be accessed, that's a real quick way to make sure that no one can forcibly unlock my phone without my permission. So. But anyways, that's going to wrap us up for episode 19 of Apostates on a Fringe. I want to thank you all again for joining us this week. You can find us on social media. We're now posting on Twitter and on Facebook. As always, you can get links to the articles or contact the show at apostatepod.com. Please consider leaving us a 5-star review everywhere you can and sharing out the show. We will see you guys next week.
And seriously, check out that Foster Woods Folk School teach-in that they're having. I'm going to get Dustin to post the link on the page, too.
I'll take care of that for you.
No war but class war.
ACAB, eat them.
Fuck Jeff Bezos.
Thank you all very much.
Apostates on the Fringe. Apostates on the Fringe.
The views and opinions of the hosts of Apostates on the Fringe do not represent the views and opinions of the Atheist Society of Knoxville. For links to all our musical contributors, go to apostatepod.com and check the About Us page. A big thank you to Michael Scott Arden, who allows the show to use his full catalog.